Friends, believe it or not, it's Monday again. Today, I have a story for you called Squabbles. You see two very cute raccoons here, a parent and a child raccoon. And let me just say, I could give you all day long, and you would never be able to guess what is going to transpire within these pages. After a quick excursion to the Antarctic last week to meet our new friend here, we are back on the island of Serendipity. This story takes place in a stand of trees called the Forest of the Glade. It looks nice. It's actually sort of a puritanical nightmare. Things were ordered and organized here in the Forest of the Glade, and even the wildflowers didn't grow wild, but were neatly planted in hanging baskets of woven wheat straw and vine. So that's insane, unhinged. This part of the island is run by Nazis. We've just got kind of a nice little society here in the Forest of the Glade. Little woodland creatures live in harmony, like a rabbit and a squirrel and I think that's a possum. And one day some raccoons move into the neighborhood. Their name is the Squabbles. There was a mother and a father, aptly called Mama and Papa Squabble, and a boy child, which is a weird hyphenate you don't see very often, called Junior. And here's where it gets, they appeared normal in all respects, but there was something amiss, something not quite right. For there was a wildness in the eyes of Papa and a bit of fear, if you like, in the eyes of, I love that it says if you like, in the eyes of Mama and Junior. So, trouble's brewing. So the Squabble was moving to a little sort of stump home. And one day, as was the custom in the Forest of the Glade, some of their neighbors came to, greet them, housewarming kind of deal. And they're talking to Papa Squabble outside, and the mother and child are sort of having a disagreement. Papa Squabble patiently ignored the ruckus at first. Then as he tried to concentrate on his conversation, he finally said, "Excuse me for just a moment." He turned to the stump and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Be quiet in there! Our neighbors have no need of the squabbles." Then he turned and rejoined the conversation as if nothing at all had happened. You can see the wildness in the eyes. You can see the fear, if you like, in the family's eyes. Junior has made a friend of a little yellow rabbit named Buttermilk, and one day Junior is late meeting Buttermilk to play. When he gets there, his tail was dragging and a tear refused to dry in his eye. Sounds like an ophthalmic issue. But anyway, Buttermilk asks him why, and he tells her, "I'm late because I fell out of the bed, and I'm crying because it hurts." Sure enough, Buttermilk could see welts and bruises all over the little raccoon's cheek and arms. They could have happened if someone fell hard from bed. Okay, let's talk for a second about this. Needless to say, domestic violence is not funny. I would never make fun of a person in this situation. However, a cartoon raccoon in a children's book explaining to his bewildered rabbit friend, sort of coming up with an excuse for the bruises that he got from being beaten by his cartoon raccoon father. That's a little funny. Buttermilk goes to Junior's house to visit, and I have questions again about the society because it's very sophisticated for raccoons, because we have an apron with like frilly a bow in the aesthetic value assigned to something like a bow on an apron. We have a plate, we have cookies with chocolate chips, glassware with milk inside, which is a whole nother question of what what are the, who's milking, and what animal, who provides this milk? Anyway, she's brought them cookies and milk, the milk of some animal or other. As the mother raccoon, but a cow? Could it be, do they drink the milk of a cow? But who, does a raccoon milk a cow in this society? As the mother raccoon bustled about, Buttermilk noticed that Mama Squabble had bruises and bumps on her cheeks and arms too, and her eye was as black as a boot heel. Gee whiz, wait a minute. A raccoon is an animal famously that has, both the eyes are black. Why would you, it would need to be like broken blood vessels or something there to denote, which I guess that this would be grim for a children's book, but don't forget there was one where a squirrel was addicted to crack cocaine. Regardless of the accuracy of her wounds, gee whiz, Miss Squabble, gushed Buttermilk. Did you fall out of bed too? Mama Squabble shot a curious look at Junior, who stared into his glass of milk. Yes, Buttermilk, she flustered as she nervously touched Hannah cheek. I fell out of bed too. This is so messed up. This is the darkest, this is the pitch dark children's book about domestic abuse in a family of adorable raccoons. Later that night, returning home from an errand, Buttermilk hears screaming coming from the Squabbles' tree stump home. It is Papa Squabble, and his bellowing was softened only by the gentle consoling of Mama Squabble as she urged him, begged him not to get mad. Don't get mad, he shouted. You are telling me not to get mad? Softer now, and yet even more threatening, Papa Squabble continued, I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to get the belt. Here's the thing about this. Should I set the book on fire? We're just going to blaze right by the question of why these nude animals own a belt. Is it just to beat your family with? I don't know. They don't have pants, so why would they have a belt? Anyway, Buttermilk goes home and tells her dad. Now, the dad, to me, sort of has a look in his face of, not again. Like, this is a rabbit. He's so world weary. He's so jaded. This is a rabbit. This is a man who has seen a lot of domestic abuse cases in the forests of the glade. You can't tell me otherwise. Look at his expression. I'd also like you to look at the wings on look at the craftsmanship on this table. They have a curtain rod, they have curtains, they have a little piece of, I don't know if that's cross stitch. This is such a weird, who's doing this? Are they cutting down a tree? We did see they did cut down the crickle crack tree. Oh my God. Buttermilk's dad gets together what can only be called a posse of some other little critters. It looks like we got 2 beavers here. We have a squirrel and we have a deer. It doesn't seem like all of these animals would know each other, but anyway, they sort of are doing sort of a vigilante justice thing. They're going to go and sort out Papa Squabble. One of them says, what should we do? Should we rush in and stop the beating? It is spoken, said one, that all creatures have a right to privacy in their own home. Now, this is cult language. This raises more questions about this society. It is spoken. Do they have a holy text, or what's the deal with that? Anyway, Buttermilk's dad is not having any of that. He's talking through clenched teeth. He means business. The vigilante posse arrives, and Buttermilk's father just pretty much yanks Papa Squabble out by the arm. Look at the grip. Look at the expressions on their faces. And Papa Squabble says, "What do you want?" And this is my favorite sentence in the book, and maybe one of my favorites in the entire series. "We want," said Buttermilk's father coolly, "for you to stop beating your wife and child." um, and Papa Squabble just says, "Harumph." Now, the Papa Squabble is led away from the family home. And I don't know what you expect to happen on the next page, but I bet it isn't this. What's this? They're all together again. For a while, he lived apart from his family, and in that time, he learned those lessons that must be learned. He learned the family is not a possession. He learned not to strike others in anger. But most of all, he learned that forgiveness can only be earned by deed. I'd like to hear the lesson that Mama Squabble learned from this, because I would like to teach her, when a man hits you, it's over. He's out. He's not going to come back, sit in the chair. You're not going to rub his shoulders. He's not going to hold your child again. But I'm not Stephen Cosgrove. He has other motives here. And so we have a bafflingly unearned happy ending with the little Squabble family. And our poem today is, "As you look around at friends, whether bunny, squirrel, or other, reach out a helping hand, for we are each other's brothers." That's fine. I mean, it does say here Buttermilk has the courage to get involved. That doesn't seem like the main takeaway from the story. Were I going to end this book with a poem, it would be something like, if a raccoon beats his wife, he gets a restraining order for the rest of his life. Something along those lines. But again, I'm not Stephen Cosgrove. This is Stephen Cosgrove, if anybody would like to know. And this is Robin James, who does the illustrations. I probably should have shown you guys their photos before now. And there's our friend Serendipity at the bottom. Anyway, that is the end of the story of the Squabbles. I would like to apologize for its existence. And I will be back with you again in a week with another, perhaps less violent story. Until then, have a nice day, have a nice week. Don't beat your wife and child.